Whenever your dog is suddenly acting aggressively, the first tip usually is to do a thorough vet check. And while this is good advice, and I would definitely suggest doing so, what if your dog is completely okay physically and still acting aggressively? This is what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to look at what causes could be there for your dog and how to fix it. And look at some action steps you can take to immediately relax your relationship again and start working as a team. So why could this be happening? The most common issue may be that there were warning signs before and they have been missed. Dogs communicate very subtly sometimes, so there is a lip licking, there is a head turn, there is a body movement, things like that. The dog might try to look away and stuff like that. And when these things don't work, the dog will stop doing them and show more direct signs like snarling, growling, biting. And if that doesn't work, the bites become more severe. But this might not even be your fault. Your dog could have unlearned these appeasing signals before he even met you. Your dog could have learned that whatever he does, he has to endure whatever, something uncomfortable. And the only way to get out of the situation is to bite down. And if your dog comes into such a situation again, he will react with aggression. And if you see these situations the first time, this might surprise you. And this might be why your dog is aggressive suddenly and there has been no warning signs. Your dog could also have never been in such a situation and is completely overwhelmed and doesn't have the time to do any appeasement or whatever. So the situation is happening so fast that your dog is reacting more intensely. So for example, you're walking your dog and suddenly an off-leash dog charges the fence and starts barking. Your dog might startle so badly that he turns around and bites into something. It's just a reaction. What could also be happening is something called trigger stacking. So your dog is confronted with one difficult thing after another, and he doesn't have time to process all that and to recover from the difficult situation number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however long it takes your dog. And your dog is trying to cope with the situation, but the more tricky situations he gets into, the more difficult it becomes to contain himself, and there will be an escalation. That is something you can prevent with watching your dog closely. So see what your dog is doing, see what stresses your dog, what's difficult for your dog, and give your dog time to recover from a difficult situation. Now, what you can do immediately is to assess your dog, find out what situations are tricky for your dog, in what situations did the aggression occur. So was it you touching your dog? Was it a guest coming in? Was it another dog coming towards you? What was it? And then you put management in place. Management is not training, but it helps training. It is everything from a muzzle to a barrier to a leash, or even avoiding specific streets or routes or areas. All of that is not necessarily a long-term solution. It just gives you time to teach your dog a different strategy to deal with difficult situations. And that's why management is so powerful. It just gives you a break. And if you see your dog reacting aggressively over and over again in day-to-day life, it can also mean to take a break from your daily routines and from your typical day-to-day life. So maybe starting today, you stop brushing your dog for just a little bit of time until you have established a routine, a new routine where your dog can say no, where your dog can actually participate voluntarily. It can also mean starting today, you are skipping walks in your neighborhood and take your dog somewhere quiet. It can also mean starting today, you do not invite guests until your dog has learned how to deal with guests. And however long that takes, at least it gives you time to breathe. It gives your dog time to learn something, and you will not practice the aggression. And that is very important. Still, I know this can be really overwhelming. It can be really tricky, and it can be scary. So doing it alone is a lot harder than doing it with a professional. If you're interested in that, go to the description, book a free call. We'll see how I can help. And if you want to know more about taking a break and how exactly this can look like, especially for leash reactivity and aggression on leash, watch this.